Greetings, gentle ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Mansa Jamil with the AI Global Legends, and I hope you guys are making it a great day. Guys, we just got involved in this new project less than 60 days ago. And, we're all about with the Legends, as you guys know, is helping our community build passive, massive royalties and passive rewards, guys, in the crypto space, in the blockchain space. Okay, so a lot of my background has been in the insurance and financial services for the last 25 years. So I've always been dealing in money, insurance contracts, you know, uh, health and disability contracts, and of course, fire and casualty. So that's been my go-to for the last 25 years, and made 6, 7 figures in that space as well. But when I heard about the blockchain space, it just gave me goosebumps because of the fact that it's helping people earn money daily. So when I got involved in this and I understood the technologies, and I just said it's a no-brainer. So my goal was to help my clients break out of always having their policies canceled due to non-payment. Here I was able to bring a solution to help them generate some sort of income so they can go ahead and keep their insurance on the books with me, right? Because a lot of people in this space have been, pretty much tired of chargebacks and stuff. So I found this great vehicle to help people, pay their bills and also change their lifestyles, right? So a lot of people know me as Bitcoin Mansa, but my name is Mansa Jamil Sherman. And again, guys, I'm really excited for you guys and the opportunity that you guys are in right now. This is what we call 2023 blockchain unification, guys. We're getting ready to unite the whole blockchain, guys, and let people really, see what's going on behind the scenes. I was talking to some gentlemen in Dubai in October, and they was mentioning, commodity-backed cryptos. And a young lady had sent me over the information. I did some research and ended up, already being signed up and didn't even know it. So I ended up doing a little bit more research when he told me that in the next 3 months, a lot of people will start hearing about blockchain technology with commodity backed crypto. And I was like, commodity backed crypto? This sounds so familiar, And so I went back to the hotel, ended up looking and seeing that I was already involved in it and had, bought some coins. So I went a little heavy. I put a little extra 20 grand in there. And by the time I got back to the States, guys, this thing was like 40,000 in my account. So it really got my German shepherds up. And I was really like, whoa, what is this? What do I got my hands on? And I'm the kind of guy that if there's an event, I want to go meet the owners. I want to go sit down with the leadership and meet them, get a good vibe from them. And so I hopped right on the plane, the first chance I got and flew into Utah and was able to meet the executive team with Debtbox and IX Global, guys. And I tell you, it's far from amazing. It's been so phenomenal to really meet these individuals and see their vision, see their goals, and what kind of company we are actually in, guys. So, with that being said, I found out that, hey, you know what? We're not an investment company. When you're talking about this, take the I out of it, okay? We are a royalty company, okay? We sell software, okay? So when I got that, I was like, wait a minute, this is a software project, just like Microsoft, And an analogy was given, and this analogy was given in regards to, say, Delta, right? Delta, you can accumulate your miles with the Delta Airlines, right? So imagine purchasing a cloud mining software where you can accumulate miles every single day. And at the end of the week or at the end of the month, you can accumulate those and then use them to travel around the world, right? So that really hit home for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is a whole new game plan because guess what? The biggest transfer of wealth right now is USDT, and the second is frequent flyer miles, frequent flyer miles. So imagine that. This is rewards. This is a reward system that we could, really hang our hat on because these guys are is flying under the radar. They're not a SEC type of regulated type of company. And of course, I went into details on that as well. I was able to talk a little bit about their the setup in regards to the coin, how it's what is it called? I forget the name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Why run away from me right quick? But a synthetic commodity. Boom. You see how I capture that real quick? Synthetic commodities, guys. And that's what we have here. And this could follow right along with gold, silver, grains, whatever you have that's attached to the market, a real commodity, guys. So I'm going to go into some more details about that, but I don't want to waste too much of the time and burn too much time. I want to bring Jimmy to the stage as well. And I want to pick his brain a little bit, ask him a few questions, guys. So just stay tuned to more information that I'll be sharing with you guys based off of what I've learned. But I want to respect Jimmy's time and also bring him to the panel here. Jimmy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing today, Jimmy?
I'm doing good. It's been busy. It's been a
Yeah,
very busy day.
I hope it's been a great day, though.
Oh, it's definitely been good for the ecosystem, we'll put it that way.
Awesome, awesome. Jimmy, I met you in Utah. You strike me as the
Hmm.
Superman of the debt box. A lot of people was asking, are you a football player? He was like, no, no,
No,
not a football player. It's like,
no.
what do you do? It's like, he's the real Clark Kent, he's just a good guy, big guy, so I was excited to meet you. And I heard you throw around some numbers about debt box and,
Hmm.
the annual earnings, right? And I don't want
Hmm.
to put tens on it. How about we ask you right now? What kind of numbers were you talking about then?
Well, I'll tell you this, since this is a recording, I have to be careful because Jason will destroy me. So I will
Okay,
tell
we
you
don't want
straight
that.
up that we're unicorn level. And if you want to look at what a crypto unicorn is, look at the top 10. And
Mm-hmm.
we're probably higher than every single one on that list by a lot
I
in
see.
terms
I see.
of the annual earnings. So I'm not even talking valuations. I'm
Okay.
talking earnings. And I'll say that IX, who a lot of you work with, they made up a small fraction.
Mm. So the ground
Right?
is fertile here, right? So it's a good
It,
time. We're
you're,
pioneers.
it is. You're absolutely pioneers. And what we're looking at this year, there are not words for what you will see happen. But I will tell you that there has never been anything like this in human history. And there are many very, very smart people that agree.
Mm. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Did you guys hear that? He looks serious too, right? He looks like he's telling the truth, right?
I I tell you this. I am a physicist by training. I've worked
Okay.
for the Navy in robotics. I've worked in nukes. And I stumbled upon this and I said, I will do anything you ask free of charge and basically work for you and get some things done just to be a part of it. And I did that
Wow.
for a year straight.
Wow.
And just by being a part of it, um, my monthly passive is more than I was making annually.
Mm. Wow. Is that based off of the team build or is that based off of having the nodes?
That's just based off of having nodes. I don't really work much with IX.
Okay, so you're in the nodes.
I've paid the direct pricing. I paid the high retail pricing, and that's still where I'm sitting.
Wow, did you guys hear that? And he's still jacked. He paid the high end, the
That's because I have the
retail
free time to
price.
work out.
Right? So let me ask you this: what was some of the highlights that you took from being at the convention? Like some of the highlights that you can share with our team here, our small
Well,
group of influencers.
you know, what I would say is I know a little bit about physics and technology. And what we have with Explore is truly unique. There is
Mm,
there is nothing out there that comes remotely close to what we're doing with that technology. And our ability to locate a resource and pinpoint it is out of this world. And that is by itself something that if they did not want to use the blockchain would make the owners of it probably worth hundreds of billions with their ability to impact industry. And with what we're doing, you are literally looking at a multi-trillion-dollar ecosystem under development.
Wow.
So under development means it's still worth a lot more than probably 99% of businesses out there. There are a few businesses worth more.
Wow. It's pretty powerful right there. That is brain boggling. Folks is in the chat going crazy right now. Guys, if you can you fathom this opportunity right now? This is insane. The good thing about it is that you're able to really, it's people out there that say, well, what is it backed by? Right? They always ask this question, and they're from the insurance field or they're from the real estate field or nursing, and they always want to know what is it backed by, something that they can attribute to, right? So typically we say blockchain technology, mathematics, metaverse, different things like that. But here you're saying commodities, right? You're saying satellites, you're saying gasoline, you're saying oil,
Mhm.
crops, agricultural stuff, right? So this is a different game in the space, right? So when these guys are telling me that in the next 90 days, there's a company that can go really, really viral, they wasn't kidding me. That's why I went and did what I had to do. And I really, believe in this ecosystem, so I really, excited about this opportunity. And for those of you that got clients on here, this is not a presentation. We're just doing a Q&A,
Mhm.
meeting with Jimmy here and Jim Brady. And he's out of Utah, guys, if you're just joining us. Okay, so he's working with the Debt Box team right now, and he did it for free for the first year. And now he says that he's making more, what do you say, a day than you make in a year, or a month
No, I
that you
make
make a
more a
year?
month, more in a month than I would make in a year before. And I still don't get paid to work with the debt box. I work with them as a team member to help people out wherever I can.
All right, so what are your strengths? What do you, help people out with the most?
I helped out with a lot of consulting on some stuff we did with the hardware. And we ran into logistical constraints with that. So my background, I've done work in semiconductors, so I was able to help with designs on that. I've also owned an Ethereum farm. And
Sweet.
I helped out with those things. And then now a lot of the work I do is mostly education. I help people understand the structure of everything, how it all works. I can talk to the really technical people that want to understand every little detail of how this is operating. And
Mhm.
it's all transparent. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, well, how do we know what's going on? I'm like, the blockchain is transparent. If you can look at it and you can learn to read it, you'll see the same thing that our partners have seen. Fleet Engineering would not take a chance on us if we weren't legitimate. The Royal Bank of Scotland would not take a chance on us if we were not legitimate. These are very powerful entities that cannot risk their name on something that isn't game changing.
Wow, that's amazing right there. The Bank of Scotland, international banking, guys. I mean, I know you've been hearing about it. I don't have too much information on it. They didn't go into too much detail at the convention, but just know that it's going to be launched by the 1st of February. And I think it's going to be a virtual card first, or is it going to be a physical card?
We're
Do
going
you
to
have any
do
details on
them pretty quickly. Um, you're looking more at mass launch the middle of February, but the beginning of
that? Okay.
February is when MasterCard will have everything buttoned up on their end.
Nice, nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing right there. So what are some of the highlights, that you pulled from the event that you didn't know, something that you learned at the event?
That we had from Roy, I knew that we had, as of earlier on before the event, we had over 100 wells in view. But the fact that Roy got up there and he said within the last 3 days he had received more than 100 additional wells requesting to join the black gold ecosystem. And
Wow.
he is a good man from everything I can tell. And I don't know him very well. I know Jason and Jake far better, and I wouldn't say know them well. But he's overwhelmed. And right after that conference, he flew back out to essentially start reviewing more wells again.
Mm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we're reviewing hundreds upon hundreds of wells before the end of the quarter.
Wow. So what's the significance of the wells? How would you explain to a new person that just came in on the call today, they hear about this opportunity? How would you explain that to them?
I would say what this means is we joined up with a few wells that wanted to take a chance on us, and we were able to show them how we could dramatically improve their revenue by helping them find sites, give them exactly where to drill so they don't waste drill bits, and get the most out of their potential pay scales. That number could typically 4 to 5x their production. These are big
Mm,
numbers for them. And because we're the only people that can do that, everybody wants a chance, even if they have to pay us a royalty over the life of the project. It is worth it. If you can 4 to 5x your production and you're paying between 10 and 20% of your total revenue, who cares? I'd do that all day
right.
long. So I'm making way more than I would ever make without them. That's what it means. It means
Mm,
royalties. Each well means royalties. We have about 3.2 million coming in a month for black gold right now. Without the 17 wells, they're going to be burned with the additional wells here on the 19th. So, and then you've got over 100 in review. Who knows how many of those will qualify, but each one's going to be adding to the ecosystem more and more money, draining out that pot of token. And
wow.
as it drains, it's going to increase in price, and there's going to be fewer and fewer people willing to sell, and it's going to go up more and more.
You guys hear that? And that's all going to the black gold and also natural gas, correct?
Yeah, natural gas as well. And we have the site in Ghana is unheardably large. In terms of surveying, you cannot quantify how much they found. Saying trillions of dollars doesn't calculate it.
Can I say mind blown? Mind blown. Wow, this is powerful information. So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to, say, the SEC,
Mm-hmm.
the CFTC,
Mm-hmm.
in regards to our tokens, what kind of information can you share with us? Why we're not, following the SEC guideline, or do we fall under that or anything like that? Do you have
Sure.
any information on that?
No, actually, I do have some information on that. We were actually audited by the SEC last summer to ensure that
Mhm.
everything we were doing was on the level. And the SEC gave us the thumbs up and said, hey, keep doing what you're doing because you're not violating our guidelines and how we do things.
Okay.
And as long as you do that, that's great. And we don't want to be regulated by the SEC ideally because we want to be seen as a commodity. Because
Correct.
when you fall underneath SEC regulations, they have to dip their hand in all the honeypots, so to speak, and that's not fun for anybody. So we
Mm,
are currently classifying ourselves as software licenses, and that's why you have to be careful with your word choice. You don't use things like equity because you don't have equity, you don't have a share, but you do have an amazing opportunity to benefit from being a validator of this ecosystem and collecting royalties as projects organically add on to it. There is nothing else out there like this in the entire world. We are the first, and we are literally making waves in the entire marketplace.
amazing, amazing. And so, guys, can you guys get this? If you guys are getting some value out of this call, put 111 in the chat, please. Let he said no validators. 111 in the chat if you guys are getting some value so far. Let's see, Jimmy, if these guys are getting some value here. Uh oh. It's loading up. I'm not just the only one, Jimmy.
I'm
Awesome,
glad it's
awesome.
useful.
Yes, absolutely. Because the thing is people want to know. A lot of people is new. They want to be able to hang their hat on something, and they want to have that confidence to do so. And when being with the legends, our community, we like bringing innovative projects to our community so they could hang their hats on, and
Mm-hmm.
also in DeFi space, decentralized finance space, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
in regards to debt box, is this debt box totally decentralized? Or would you classify it as 100% decentralized, the application right now? Or it's just
Well,
the, okay, let you
no, go
answer
ahead.
that.
So decentralized, yes, the blockchain, everything is decentralized. There's no profit center. Even Jason, Jake, Roy, Shad, the people that are the debt council members, they don't take a salary. They
Mm,
are doing the exact same thing everyone else is doing. They're paying MSRP for their licenses. the way that I would say that we want to improve decentralization is we want to continue to have hosting opportunities beyond VBox, beyond hosting through DevBox. We're providing that right now to help people, because to think about suitability and proper education, we want to make sure people are learning how to do hosting. Most people don't have the crypto education to do a lot of this, as we found with,
Right.
unfortunately, people not even being confident with 2FA.
Correct.
But no, we are working towards, for instance, in terms of true decentralization, more and more people hosting, and they are going to eventually take, how do I put this? There are a limited number of VBoxes available. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And once they're gone, they're gone. So you'll have to host somewhere else to ensure people are decentralizing. Because we don't want to be all on one server system. That puts the ecosystem at risk. Now, here's something you need to understand, though. Our servers are highly secure, for one. And number two, no one is going to target your hosting service because there's no value in it. They're going to target your wallet. Use 2FA and you have nothing to worry about. Don't reuse passwords and you have nothing to worry about.
That's key right there. Don't reuse passwords. Use the 2FA. So basically,
Yes,
don't have the same password for your IX logins, also for your DevBox logins.
absolutely. Absolutely,
Different.
because IX keeps their passwords in a separate database. And no, there have been no breaches at DevBox at all. We've been audited by some very high level cybersecurity folks, and we've come up with a clean checklist. We have nothing to worry about. And yes, we did our due diligence to make sure that everything on our end was covered.
Nice, nice. Wow, that's pretty powerful here. I feel even safer now.
Yep.
Okay.
We follow a lot of regulations. We have actually a staff of SEC related lawyers and very advanced crypto lawyers guiding a lot of our decisions and how they present all marketing material, how we present everything. This is a big deal. This is not a meme coin. You can't throw around statements. You have to be careful because we're creating something real that a lot of people are going to want to get their hands on.
Right. Absolutely. And just like myself and everyone here, we getting our hands on it, right? We want to get this and take it to the moon, man. So let me ask you this. So out of the ecosystem, all the different projects that we have, which is your most favorite?
Explore.
I know it's a tough question.
I'm with Jason. That's Jason's favorite right now too, is Explore.
Okay, so
it's easy money.
Easy money?
Easy money because we can send a satellite, we can do a scan, we charge, several $1 million for that scan. And that's nice. And I'll tell you right now, our profit margins on it are a lot higher than several 100%. So it's good. It used to cost us about 90,000 per kilometer to scan when we were using Google satellites.
Wow. Okay.
So you're like, that's still expensive, but I'm like, not in space flight time. That's actually really good. That's really good numbers.
Wow, that does sound really good. That is really good. So you're heavy on XPLR. What about NATG? What do you think about NATG?
NATG is going to be slow to rise because of the way the natural gas is going right now, but it is going to pop. And anybody that's put into that is going to eventually be laughing and very happy with life. So hold tight on it. And I would say focus on other projects while it grows. I would also say the same if you get into BEV. That project's going to be a bit of a sleeper and it's going to grow. It's a hold project. It has a lot of value to it long term. And if you're looking for more of passive route, BLOX is probably going to be better for that.
Let's talk a little bit about BLOX. What's your info on the BLOX network with the real estate and stuff?
BLOX network, we do things incrementally, meaning we have different parts of the project we launch. And then we launch new features and add-ons to the blockchain as the project builds out. Right now, what we're doing is we're focusing primarily, for instance, on the commercial real estate space. And last I checked, we had quite a bit already prepped up for lending, and we already have quite a few loans out in the field. So we're moving quickly on that. And we have had a lot of requests because BLOX is really cool for our commercial people who do a lot of real estate investing that have a lot of money, because it allows them to leverage a lot more properties than they could following traditional guidelines. So they can essentially leverage and expand their growth exponentially in comparison if they just followed regular methods. So I think it's an amazing project. I love it. It's one of my favorites for sure. And I'm going pretty heavy on that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did that right out the gate, went pretty heavy on it, bought a ton of licenses. So
Awesome.
so it seems like they're gonna be owning these commercial buildings.
We create the loans for them, and the interest payments on the loans, it becomes the royalty for the burn.
Ooh.
Right.
Rewind
And
it
it's
one more time. One more time. I don't think they heard that. Say that one more time.
the interest payment on the loan, 100% of the interest is burned.
Wow. 100% of the
And some
interest is
people,
burned.
some financial people are like, how can they cover their principal like that? How can they cover their
Right.
fees with that? I'm like,
Right.
that's part of how the treasury nodes work. They act as collateral and they act as a means to help take care of that on the back end. Don't worry. All the financing for this is buttoned up and it's pretty.
That's what I'm talking about, guys. Value over value over value. Okay, now, I know this is, we have our community here. I know we're going to have a couple guests that may have some questions for you, Jimmy, if you don't
Sure.
mind.
Sure.
I do respect your time, guys. So if you have a question for Jimmy, once you put 777, and if your camera's on, we'll bring you onto the panel, okay? 777 in the chat. Don't be shy. This is the Legends Show. Hanging out, Crypto Night. Did I ask all the questions or something? Nobody got a question? You can raise your hand too if you can find the chat. Let's see here.
I'm okay.
Okay. All right. So far, nobody has any questions.
Cool.
I think they probably all questioned out. Probably got all their questions out in the 5 or 6 Zooms prior to this on the Blitz. Okay, we are all absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so in regards to okay, we got one person here. All right, Kevin, what are you talking? Let's get him on. Add pin. Unmute yourself. Kevin Latmore, go ahead and unmute yourself. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for being on and doing this, Jimmy. I know you got a bunch of things you could be doing, but every time you help people hear and understand this a little bit more. Myself, I've only been here for about 90 days. I've introduced about 17 people to the company. It's grown to 2,200, and I feel like we haven't done anything yet, and with me, I mean, I heard about it, it made sense, so I liked it a little bit more, and I liked it a little bit more. Then I flew myself to Barcelona. I liked it even a lot more, and so on. I just find that there's always new epiphanies and new mind-blowing understandings. Even today is really helping too. A lot of people got that for the first time, or maybe the second, wherever they are in their cycle in Salt Lake City was a big eye-opener for a lot of people. And I think there's always going to be more and more and more as we start to understand the scope. And you're helping with that right now too. So with all that being said, one quick thing is, I think I know the answer, but I'd like to actually hear it from someone like yourself, is the time frame. I know perpetual means ongoing. I think understand the 4,000 days doesn't really even start cycling, but if you could give people an official answer, if you have it, on the length of the perpetuals for starters.
So some of the perpetuals are built differently. Let's take, for instance, black gold. Black gold has a 10% burn. However, that's broken up into 4% going into the EGI pool for mining. And that 4% is split out over 4,000 days. And 4 other percent goes into the liquidity for the project. And then 2% disappears from existence. So 4,000 days. Once a license is minted, that's your mining time. Now, this is going to get a little bit math intensive, so bear with me. You're only about 12.5% of the tokens for the projects that half every year are ever going to see the light of day.
Mhm.
because you the first year, half of the tokens are eliminated from existence. Okay. So if you have a 15 billion token, 750 billion will be gone, roughly. And then you only have 750 billion, or you have 15 billion, you have 750 million, or no, 7.5 billion. I apologize. I'm mixing all this up. We have 7.5, you get the idea. It halves and it halves and it halves. Now you're like, well, how long will this really last? I'm like, hey, this is where people struggle with this, but it will last perpetually. It really will. And you're like, how? Because the decimals get so small. I'm like, decimals are just decimal places. You can move the number over. If it's 1 decimal, 0.0005, and that's your coin that you mine for a day, all you do is move that over to a 5 and 10 to the negative power. But it still has value because it doesn't matter. It's all backed up by intense, complex blockchain code, and it's still tradable.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what will matter to you. If it goes to 5 decimal places, and say, let's be theoretical here. Let's say black gold gets to $100 per token in 10 years, because we've literally taken over the entire oil market, or we have 40% share in it, because we're helping everybody do all this, and they couldn't have done it without us. That would be insane. And people that got in the beginning would be multi-billionaires. Even the person with only a couple nodes. Something to think about.
Wow.
So that's like that is really the vision for this, by the way. The vision for this is to literally have every house in the world have these licenses, to be validating technology without borders, to create an international, worldwide commodities exchange for everybody. And that's trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars.
Oh my gosh. That's insanity.
Is there anything that's crazy? Is there anything that we would, could, or should do to help you guys? I know little simple things like we should probably all, jump on the Twitter of you guys and Fleet Space if you think we should even be messing around over there. Adding the coins to our watch list. Little things help the algos a little touch, but just anything that you have in mind that we can do other than just buy nodes and sit back, trade more. I know this one, move it from our piggy bank to our wallet, I think helps with some things, right? Apparently,
we prefer it just because we want it to be in your wallet versus in the piggy bank. That's it.
Yeah.
You can leave it there.
I generated a 10% or something. I thought I heard.
It does do a 10% burn, and that does move things around. That 10% burn is going to come out no matter what. There's nothing you can do about it, because that's just the way the smart contracts are built. And there's a really good reason for that. It prevents people from gaming the market. You can't round robin trade the same token to impact price and fake a pump, because you'll just run out of token. Which is really important. We've learned in watching the crypto space over the last several years. But what you can really do, this is what I would love to see. Just talk about it. And everybody's talking about it. We're acquiring roughly 4,000 new people every week. And I remember when that number was only a couple hundred. I remember when it was only 30 or 40. It's just geometric at this point. So just talk about it, introduce people to it. Tell them it's something to learn about, to educate themselves about blockchain. Because I want to see people take advantage of this, because it's the people that get in early that really stand to make the most benefit. And I feel bad for all the people that are waiting and waiting and waiting, because they'll always stay waiting and they'll miss out.
Waiting, sitting on a fence.
Yeah. I've seen it over and over as a businessman, and it's sad. But you can't make people do stuff. Go ahead. Sorry.
Right. I know they created debt box like, Ethereum and Bitcoin, kind of like the same model, right? And so,
sort of,
as far as the tokenomics, go ahead.
Well, it's synthetic though. That's where we have to be really careful. It's not proof of work. Yeah, go on.
Well, it's proof of work, not proof of stake.
It is, but it's not. So what it is it's a different protocol. There's three major consensus algorithms. The two biggest ones you know of are proof of work and proof of stake. Those are the most popular. But algorithm that's on the rise is ours, which is synthetic proof of work, because it's actually more ecological than the other options, because you create a predetermined number of nodes that people can utilize. And then that means you avoid the problem of hash creep, where people have to buy more and more servers, more and more powerhouses, which is why mining Bitcoin now, it is more valuable to you to own a node license and transfer it to Bitcoin than it is for you to mine Bitcoin right now.
So this is a big mining. This is a big opportunity to also mine Bitcoin with our nodes, because you could mine the coins and convert them right into Bitcoin.
You'd make your money back faster than buying a Bitcoin miner. Way faster.
Yeah, way faster. Wow, that's amazing right there. I believe I know this answer. I believe DebtBox started a year ago at a penny.
The debt token started at a penny, and everybody wanted to buy it. We were just starting to mine it, so there wasn't enough liquidity, and no one was willing to sell it. So they just held, and everyone's like, "This is worthless. Why did I spend $3,000 on this license?" They don't say that now.
I bet you they don't. And if they do, well, I'm coming after you.
Oh, I've offered so many people. I'm like, you don't want your license?
Nodes.
No.
Absolutely.
And I think the same will be true of NATG very soon.
Hey, they call me NATG Mance over here. All right. All right. So thank you so much, Kevin, for your question and your interactions here. I really appreciate your presence. All right. Let's go with Steve Niken. Steve, go ahead and unmute yourself, my friend. There you go.
All right, can you hear me?
Yep. Okay. Peace and blessings, Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent, Nat G. Mansa. Thank you very much for letting me ask my question, and I appreciate your time here, Jimmy, as well as some of the other leaders here, Kevin, and everybody that's here making these kind of things happen for us, right? That's very important. But my question is, right, compared to the Black Gold project, which he just explain the dynamics, with the halvings and the, percents, 4%, 2%, and that stuff. He said, now that's different than a lot of these other projects, right? Can you tell us something about these other projects that licenses are available, right? Like Aluminum, Explorer, right? And the value of those, since they've been around already, besides BLOX and BEV, right? Can you tell us about that? Because I know the GROW token had substantial gains already, right, in price, and then also the gold token, right? Because that's a whole different dynamic. People don't understand that much, because I guess it's paid in gold per grams or something like that. The tokens you can exchange it. Because maybe tell us that, can you?
Sure. No, I'll tell you all about that. So right now, gold is on a 1-to-1. Okay, meaning as we mint gold from the mine and get it to international exchange, we allow the token to be minted. So a lot of people that have bought DLG, so you're aware, they're not producing at a high amount because there's a lot of international regulation, and it became a lot more difficult than they ever dreamed. So what they're doing is they're actually redoing the contract, and we're making it inflationary and deflationary. And this was voted on by all the DLG node holders. They voted 100% unanimous to change it to this. And here's the key here. You're looking at a project where we have lots of gold to sell and lots of people that have been in it. And what I'm trying to say is the licenses are still very cheap. And once that new contract comes out, they're going to disappear pretty fast, because we have a lot of gold that we need to sell, and we have some very interested buyers, is the way I'll put it for now. And I wish I could say more, but I don't want to be shot. So it's a good project, and it's a sleeper. And actually, right after these licenses hit here and the prices start going up on BLOX and BEV, I'm going to be telling people like, look, you should probably be getting some DLG, because I'm pretty sure once that contract hits here in the next month or so, you're not going to have a chance to get it.
Awesome.
Sayonara.
So, and it's a new contract. I don't have the contract in place yet, and I don't have that leaked information. It will be similar to the way they've done Explore and Black Gold and ALUM and NATG. Those projects are all pretty similar in structure. So we'll follow some of those guidelines, but there are other things that are being taken into consideration that I don't have access to. Not yet.
Right. Because that token just blew up, like also, right? The price of it,
Yeah.
It's like $100 and something now. It was just like at like 70 or 80 not too long ago, right?
Yeah, and that's completely based
too.
off of gold. Gold's been going up in price, so it goes up.
Right. So that was
Mhm.
good to see.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome, and it's going to get a lot better.
Thank you.
A lot better. Yep.
All right, thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. All right, let's you. Okay, guys, we're running up on our 30 minutes with Jimmy. I promised him 30 minutes.
You're okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay, cool. We got another guy, Mr. Malik Amir. Let's bring him to the stage. Let's see here. Malik Amir, go ahead and unmute yourself. How you doing today, sir?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for having me and putting this together and everything. And Jimmy is definitely a wealth of knowledge. So I just wanted to kind of ask a little bit about the aluminum project, because, I've heard that aluminum is very scarce in the world right now. And I see it as something that could be huge and can solve a lot of problems and things like that. And the token is at like 1.3 cents as well. So I know we've been talking a lot about, XPLR. I mean, I own that license and they're pretty similar in the value of the token. So I just wanted to see, how do you feel about the actual aluminum project?
Aluminum's done really well on the back end. They hit aluminum deposits really early on, and it's got royalties. They've hit 2 deposits. They hit all their thresholds, and it's bringing in substantial amounts. The key with some of the token prices, and you guys have to understand this, is when we do the rentals, it pulls the price down temporarily on everything. And that's because a lot of our people that are not as fortunate as us, that live in other countries that are developing, they're more concerned about eating than having a portfolio. So if they can scrimp 3 months savings to buy a rental license and then even make $50 on that, like if they get to 300, that's astronomical for them, and they're going to spend it. So that puts buying pressure on. But I'll tell you right now, aluminum and Explore without the rentals would both probably be sitting at more of the 4 to 5 cent range, is my assumption with how much we have. Just so you know, they're both doing really, really well. And I love ALUM. It's a great project. I own quite a few licenses in it. I went more heavy on Explore because I'm a scientist and I just love technology. But ALUM's a beautiful project.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Thank you, Jimmy.
All right. Alec, thanks for that question. Okay. We got a question in the chat, Jimmy. Someone's asking, anything to share about other new projects coming out? I heard about Drip, I heard about Swipe, and do you think you can share about any other projects?
I can share a little bit. I have to be careful. Since you mentioned those are the two I'll share a little bit on to keep myself safe, because there's been enough rumors going around about them. I can share some information. Let me just give you an example here of Drip. Last summer at the Nebraska site, they were doing scans and they were working on getting, this is for one of our oil well groups. And there was a local individual that had a plot of land for their farm that they were like trying to figure out where to go for water. And our team just like, why don't you just go over here? And like, well, why would we go over there? It's up on a hill. They're like, just trust us. Just do your well there. Trust us, please. And they're like, fine. And they hit massive amounts of water. They got everything they needed. And they're like, how did you guys know? And we're like, we just knew. So it's the satellite technology. And you got to think, all these projects, these guys are brilliant. Everything's a chess game. Everything is, how do we benefit each project from every other project? Well, think about grow. We go into terrain that's not really hospitable, not close to clean water. What if we can help them put a well in and we can pinpoint where to get the water? and we can help them grow better crops, and we can buy those crops, and we can help them manufacture it. We help them get water, we help them get this, we help them get that. And we've got a little bit we're taking off the top of each thing, but compared to how much we're improving their way of life, it's minuscule.
Monstrous.
Bring everybody up. What is it the saying goes that high tides raise all ships or something like that? I don't say it right, but you get the idea. Raise everyone up.
I got you. Yep.
So drip's looking good. That's going to be like water exploration, where we're able to get royalties from that. And I would say that the swipe project is initially going to be based off of the what you call the transaction fees that are associated with our cards within the ecosystem. So every time you swipe or you do your debit or things like that, there's going to be a little bit of a kickback that goes into a burn. And we're going to be helping IX people to get these cards. So you're all going to have the opportunity to use this. So every time you're using it, you're just helping the ecosystem. You're just helping that project grow. And as our ecosystem grows, so will that project. And there's more to it than that, but that's basically what I can share right now. Okay. There's a lot of projects coming out. Barcelona, Joe has some great connections with Jason, and he was able to share quite a few things that we have coming out this year. And that is not the whole list. And they've already planned out the next year down the road. And I believe they're working on the following year. So we've got at least 24 plus projects in the pipeline right now.
Wow. So
yeah.
I came up with two that I'm familiar with. Can you come up with at least one that we are not familiar of?
Royal.
Okay. Elaborate a little bit on Royal. Sounds good, don't it? Don't it sound good, Royal?
It does sound Royal. That's a potential one in the royalties space for like, I have to be very careful what I say.
Like be very careful. And people here, they got tight lips over here, so we ain't
I know how much we all talk. We all talk. And I know what's going to talk. But it has to do with royalties. And who gets royalties? Artists get royalties. So you're looking at a very different industry. And we're looking at improving every industry. So that's a project there. Helium's been one, I believe, that was mentioned in Barcelona. I don't know if lithium was mentioned in Barcelona, so hopefully I don't get shot. But we're working on a lot of stuff in those areas. Guys. I have to be careful because I can't remember the projects that they put up on your guys' IX thing. And I'm like, if I don't list one that's on there, that's a different one. I'm dead.
You're doing good so far. Everything you're talking about, we have that listed except lithium.
Perfect. And I would say there is another project coming in.
I heard of helium.
Helium. Helium's going to be cool because helium is a very scarce resource. And the moment you use helium, it leaves our atmosphere. So being able to use that and help people get it, because it's used in some very special instrumentation. It's a high desired thing. It's a lot like lithium, where people need it to make some very special products. And I would say far more special than even lithium. So that's going to be great. And I like all of those metal projects. Okay. And we've got another project out there that is related to all this, and it's probably going to be subdivided into groups, but it's related to metals, and that's all I can say.
Okay. We'll hear about rhodium. Somebody put rhodium in there. Is that the one?
Radium?
Radium.
I have heard that passed around, but I have not spoken to the actual council about that. So I haven't had anybody reference it, and I haven't had any internal teams, but it might be one on the table because they have a lot that's on the table that they don't always talk about. Okay. And yes, silver's on there. Digitally licensed silver is one that's been on there for a long time. Yeah. And I do believe that is slated to come out this year. I believe DLS was one we were thinking about launching last year. Another project we're looking at launching is one that is more of a niche project and is still under development, and that's Rev. Rev has to do with well, I don't want to say anything about that because that's still definitely in the works, and that's a pet project of Jason, so I won't touch that. Let's see, is there anything else I want to share?
They mentioned that a little bit at the convention. Also,
they did.
The
giving back. That was a bomb. They haven't dropped that openly. But I will tell you right now that Jason has dedicated a lot of his life to giving back. So it doesn't surprise me one bit. He's very much about, how do I put this? He will not give you a fish to save your life, but he will show you how to use that pole. And that's what I've
Work
seen
that
from him.
pole.
And that's how other people have talked to me about him.
Okay.
I have asked other people about who he is and how he works. And he's very much the kind of man that wants to help people, but he won't do it for them. He'll give them away.
Mm,
And that's the best way you can help the world, really.
absolutely.
Don't just hand out, like, help people build infrastructure. That's what he's doing in Ghana. He's helping them build out a new world. They will be decades ahead of where they were, even in probably 5 years. That's an
Okay, we
entire
got a
country.
question here.
Go ahead.
We got a question here.
Yeah, please.
Any problems with too many projects rolling out, cannibalizing each other?
This was brought up last year. We launched 7 projects and I had tons of people asking that same question. We haven't seen that. That tends to, let me put it this way. It makes us upset who are currently in the project, who have put all of our funds into the project, and we know there's 2 coming out in 60 days. Because like, well, how am I going to get more money for that? I'm like, you're going to hustle. Because it's not going to cannibalize. It's just going to lead to diversification. Our market share is growing so rapidly, and we're attacking, in each instance, we're attacking $1 trillion industry, which means even if you take $10 billion from that, that's 1% of that industry. That's minuscule. That's something to think about. If you even take 1% of the entire industry, you've already created $1 billion firm. And we have lots of ways to do cost savings because we know how to use blockchain properly, unlike a lot of people are doing. And I don't mean that in a rude way. It's just we have a lot of enthusiasts versus engineers and industrial people trying to use it because they're old school. They don't think technology, and we're showing them how. So you won't see cannibalization, in my opinion, on this. And I haven't seen cannibalization on this. I've just seen people frustrated that they can't buy as many licenses, but other people buy those licenses.
Right. Absolutely.
So hustle.
I think that's a great way to answer that. To hustle on, guys. Earn some commissions, and take those commissions and
IX
purchase some
has
of
the
software.
best commission structure I've ever seen, like ever in my whole life.
Man. I agree. It's a powerful comp plan.
It is. Jason's commented on it. Jason's not into that space, but he's commented that honestly, IX barely takes anything for itself off the top. Joe's a very humble guy. He's a very good guy, and he really wants to change the world.
Yeah, he has a heart of gold, I'll tell you.
Yeah, he does.
We got another question from
Sure.
Alvin.
Yep.
He says, as a scientist, can you please explain in layman terms exosphere versus RFEG for us?
Oh, easy. RFEG is the company that basically has the scanning algorithms, and the exosphere is the satellite system that's hosting our algorithms. And then the geodes are Fleet's ground-based scanning technology that detects vibrations. So RFEG is Shad Brennan's company, who's one of the BLOX Debt Council members. He is one of the owners of that technology, the Explore-based algorithms. And they are basically married to BLOX, like directly married. We just signed the contracts through that company since they own the rights to it. But it is all married together, and they own part of the rights. So BLOX has some of it too. But yeah, it's very deeply tied. I hope that helps with it. But RFG is resonance frequency. I can't remember what all the acronym stands for. But yeah, that's how they're linked together.
Okay.
I hope that helped.
Right,
I hope that wasn't confusing.
Pick the right one. I picked the right now to sip my champagne. That's right. Sip, cheers. Awesome. Guys, we're at the top of the hour, guys. You got time for one more question?
Sure.
Got one more question out there, anyone? Before we let him go? All right. People saying thank you. Okay, I guess we don't have any more questions. Show some love, guys, in the chat for Jimmy as we let him go. Give him some thanks and appreciation. And Jimmy, it's been very, very, very informational. You gave us a lot of information. It looks like we got one more question.
Sure.
Can you tell us more details on the BEV and where that will be going?
Okay. Bev, a few things you want to know is we've already got $40 million of contracts in place, and we've got locations for distribution. We figure about 30 days before their current inventory's out, and then our inventory with powered by BLOX starts to go out, and we're looking at 16 million products. Man, that's some cheap advertising.
Man.
Just to start, and then the guy running it, his name's Ryan Bowen. He's good in beverage. He just sold his company for 350 mil. He's very successful, very good at this kind of thing. So he's going to be out there acquiring new contracts, new people we work with. And here's what makes this awesome to me is there are a lot of mom and pop breweries and distilleries out there that don't have the volume to get into distribution centers or to get their stuff out to the rest of the market. But with using blockchain and the way we've set up our systems, we can reduce their cost of bottling and getting things out by roughly 22% net. And that's massive. That's a heavily saturated industry with very low margins to work with. And it's high margins, it's alcohol, but it's low margins overall compared to other industries. And reducing their total cost of business by 22%, with us taking 5% off, so that drops down to 17%. 5% goes to royalties, so like nickels on each product, right. Okay? But that's 16 million products, and it's only 40 million contracts. People like Anheuser we're working with already, and they're huge. They definitely don't need distribution, but it helps. It even helps their costs. What I'm trying to get at is you're looking at a project that could easily grow to 500 million over the next year or two in terms of contracts. Just because it's so nice for all these people. And there's so many people I know that want distribution. I know there are so many out there that can't get it, and this will help them out a lot. I think you're going to see a lot of value from it, especially with the quarterly halving.
A lot of exposure too.
Oh yeah, the exposure.
Scan that barcode, you get a whole bunch of video on BLOX. That's huge right there.
Absolutely, that's going to be fun. I'm excited.
Yes, I am. That's why I said in the next 90 days, guys, just watch out. It's going to be bananas. So put yourself in position with these nodes, guys. We got Kevin. He has another question, foundational question. Go ahead, Kevin.
So, Jimmy, for people that are a little bit more crypto savvy, it comes up when people start to put their thinking hats on, and I want to strangle them. Like, don't think, just work.
Go ahead.
I want to get the proper answer. We kick them under the table. We hide them under the rug. It's the people that get smart and say, "Why don't I just buy the tokens on the open market?" And perhaps it's not as bad as I think it is. It's actually a necessary evil, if it even is an evil at all. I know how I want to get my tokens, but can you address that in any way, good, bad, or ugly?
Oh yeah, totally. I actually can, because I came from the mining space, and historically, it is actually more profitable to buy tokens than it is to mine. But you're not dealing with proof of work. You're dealing with synthetic proof of work, and you're dealing with the first to market, which is an opportunity. The very first miners that go active over the first several months of that project will make more token than is produced over the entire existing lifetime moving forward.
Correct.
So even though your tokens may not be worth value, let me point this out. When I first got my black gold licenses in November, the week it launched, we knew nothing about this at that time, by the way. We're like, this is a pipe dream. This is awesome. I believe in it. I did. I really believe. I drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago. And I'm glad I did. It's turned out awesome. But here's the key. I was making like $1 a day off of it. And I was like, that's okay. Now, if you go forward a year and we're not at our high point, that mining for that first several months per license that I dropped about $1,500-ish on each was worth $240 a day per license. So that's kind of nice. And what I'm trying to say is, I'm like, yeah, you guys are right in a typical market, but you don't have access to the liquidity. I'm like, sure, you can wait to buy that token, but all of us that are mining that token up front, we're going to accumulate so much of it, and so many people are going to be unwilling to sell it. And you can maybe get some on the open market, you think, for cheaper, but it's never going to be as cheap as it was when we first acquired it. Not even close. And we're going to have a lot more than you to work with. And if you hold it over time, the goal, by the way, that we're working with RBS, which comes into play related to this, whether they want to think this hard or not, is if you have a big portfolio and you can lend against that portfolio, you'll never sell.
Now you're talking. You never sell. You're holding diamond
hold
hands,
forever.
baby. Diamond hands.
Nice. Thank you for
Nice.
that.
I hope that helps. And if you ever have more questions, feel free to reach out. I'm on
Crypto
Discord as
compounding
Crypto Jim.
Crypto compounding crypto.
Exactly. Wow, that's powerful. Imagine that, guys, borrowing against your crypto, so you don't have to actually sell it. And when you borrow against your crypto, you're saving taxes. You don't have to pay taxes on borrowed, funds, guys. That's a game changer in itself, right? So, wow, that's powerful information, Jimmy. Man, you lit a fire over here. Everybody, I want to sign up all over again, I'm going to tell you that right now. No hype. Let me get in right now. And it's like we're getting in at the early stages right now, especially with these two new projects that just rolled out, BEV and BLOX, guys. It's in the wallets, but it's no numbers there. So you're at the, pat yourself on the back because you're on this here channel, guys. So again, appreciate you, Jimmy. Everything that you do, we will be in touch. I'll get this video out to you as well. And I appreciate all the panelists that came up and asked some pretty great questions, intelligent questions, and this is going to help our community, believe faster and take action faster. And that's what we want to do. We want to help this whole ecosystem explode. So really appreciate you, Jimmy, and the whole Legends community. They're all showing a whole bunch of love, guys. So with that being said, I appreciate you, Jimmy, and we'll see you at the top because you already know the bottom is way too crowded. Peace and blessings, guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You have a good evening.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you.
Guys, was that fire or what? That was fire. Let me see. You guys can unmute yourselves.
Yeah, that was Fire Torch Flame.
Wow. Fire.
I did a Ric Flair.
Mind blowing.
Woo!
Man.